Hello, and a huge welcome. This session is just for you if you desire illogical wealth, if you desire more money than you know what to do with. When I talk about illogical money, illogical wealth, sometimes people question and say, why are you talking about that? Why are you saying having more money than you know what to do with? Like, this doesn't even exist. This is not true. And I see a bit of discomfort in people. It's too good to be true. It doesn't exist, right? If you are experiencing that kind of discomfort, or like, is it even possible? Can I get my head around that? Then I would love for you to pause this video and first pay attention to your emotions and what's coming up for you, and what are you saying to yourself. Are you saying, oh, there has to be just enough so that I'm comfortable, so that I can do and have whatever I want, but as long as money covers that? This is literally for you if you're fully ready to receive illogical wealth, right? And if you're not, I would love for you to pause and see where you're not fully behind this idea. What is getting in the way? What thoughts and emotions and things you're experiencing? What is your inner talk? And once you feel like a squeaky clean energy, I would love for you to watch this, or listen to this and do this over and over and over and over again. Because this idea is so beautiful, and this is something I'm so obsessed about, because there are different levels of wealth and there are different level of consciousness when it comes to wealth. And when it comes to illogical money, it is like the digits of the phone number. It is like, it's insane. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. Oh, I can't believe this. So when I had this kind of experience in my life, I remember when I had it for the first time, and then you normalize that numbers and it becomes more and more and more. But when I had it for the very first time, I still remember that day when I manifested pretty extortionate, illogical money. And I was like, is it real? Is it a game? Does it exist? It's crazy. I saw that number in my imagination, but seeing that numbers, those digits in your bank account, has a very different vibe. It's like, oh, this is cool, right? What I realized was that level and frequency of money are completely different. And the more I experienced that, the more I got obsessed with that. And the more I experienced that, the more I found it completely fascinating. And I studied that. And I really want to share with you my full of fascination, my obsession, my full of curiosity findings that I found. And this session will really help you tap into that illogical money. Let's go for the big numbers. When we talk about money, there are two kinds of frequencies, and most of the world operate on the first one. The first one is the need money, right? I need money. I need it. Why do you need money? Because you need to pay bills, you need to pay mortgage, you need to pay for your school, the children's fees, their expenses and all of that. So that comes in the need energy. And when we are actually fulfilling a need, the frequency is limited. It's very logical. If I work these many hours, I'll get this money. If I do this job, I'll get this. If I get promoted, I'll have this much increase. It's very logical, very calculated. You can calculate it. A lot of people, even sometimes people move to entrepreneurship, but really like digesting the idea and embodying the idea of illogical wealth seems a bit far-fetched idea, because if I get more clients, then I'll have more money. If I get 2 more clients, I will have this much. It's very, very calculation logic based. You're in your head and you are creating from your head, and there is a limitation based on your logic, your past experience, what makes sense, what is possible. But then comes the illogical money. That's why I call it illogical at the first place, because in that frequency, it's not that you are now working 100 times harder. It's not that you're doing things massively different, which is quite strange, right? This is what the most fascinating part. It's just the amount of money that you start receiving, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's illogical. Whoa, that was big number. That is good. That is great. I love this. And once you tap into that, you keep tapping into that. And what I've experienced in the very early on in my career, I tapped into that and I tapped out of that. right? I also tell you how to not tap out of that once you tap in, because that is also equally important. Otherwise, you'll keep thinking, what did I miss? What did I do wrong this time? But when we talk about illogical money, it's on a completely different frequency. And if somebody asks you and say, how did you do that? You cannot just tell them, I did this and I did that and I tried that. You cannot give them a sequence. It's illogical. It doesn't make sense. Probably with a lot of people, they're pretty much doing the same thing, and all of a sudden it happens, or they did exactly the same thing, or they just tweaked something. It's not more the how. It's not the logic. It's not the step by step. You cannot say you do this and you try that and you do this and this will happen. It is the frequency. It's the consciousness. It's a way of being. Let's tap into the consciousness now. What is that consciousness of illogical money? In the need frequency, money is very masculine. If you think of like an old man, you work, you get paid. You work, it's like very stiff, it's very rigid, it's very logical, it's very standard. In the illogical money, if you think of like a woman, very beautiful woman, and nothing to do with genders, just to give you a bit of idea and feel, she's wearing her stiletto heels, she's very beautiful, she's very magnetic, she has this alluring vibe, like she's just so cool, and then when she's attracting the money, it's so easy, it's so fun, it's just coming, it's her way of being. And people who are men, it doesn't mean you can't tap into that. You can absolutely do that. I'm just using this distinction to help you see like the frequency is different. Like one is like very attractive, alluring, sensual, it's very fun, it's very lighthearted, it's very romanticizing, and the one is like rigid, right? So when we tap into these two money frequencies, the illogical comes with when we start romanticizing the idea of money. And for people who have a very wounded relationship with money, or who have seen a lot of lack, or who have seen money, because of money they had a lot of problems, or they saw their parents fighting and all those things, like who are carrying money wounds, it's very hard to now romanticize money, because all of a sudden from the worst thing it is becoming a romantic thing, or something you can really caress and you can really have fun with. So if you think of that woman, let's really take money as that example. That woman wouldn't come to you if she comes to you and you say to her, oh, you come and you just leave, or you just come and I didn't even realize you're there, and she feels unappreciated, she feels not seen, she feels not heard, she feels not invisible, she feels like you don't really value her, you always talking negative about her, she's never enough. Would you go to those places where you have those experiences? No, right? Money, because it's not treated the right way, it doesn't come back, because it's the relationship. But the problem is, a lot of times our relationship is so, even before we made our first transaction, before we really understood what money was, we have a relationship with money based on what our parents feared. When we were in our mother's womb, what is the feelings she experienced? How did she think about money? What happened? That was going, as well as the nutrients. And I have this beautiful post on Facebook about that on my profile on this. Like, our relationship with money was actually start to actually build. When we are now romanticizing the idea of money, first of all, it's a healing journey. If you are like, how do I uncover what my relationship is? What I would recommend you to do is write a love letter to money as if it's your girlfriend or boyfriend. And it doesn't because I'm saying love, it doesn't mean you have to just show love. In fact, you show all the negative, like what you really feel about money. You really unpack all your traumas and all your things and how it made you feel. So go as far as you can in your childhood. Go as far as in those times when you were little, where there was no money, and then start to really unpack what were the feelings, how did you actually feel, what happened, what would you say to money if you can go on a rant. It is more to uncover and unpack the negative, so that you can uncover what is the relationship, because you cannot heal something if you don't know what it is, right? You diagnose that and then you really start to heal that, and then what you do is we romanticize the idea of money, like, oh my God, having money is such a good feeling, it's so good, I feel so grateful, I feel so attuned, I feel so connected. it's such a, so like when you receive the money to pay your bills, you're like, oh my God, your hair. Imagine if that's someone money. What would you say? Oh my God, your hair. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. And then you fall in love with the idea of having money and spending money and circulating money and experiencing money, receiving money. It's so romantic. It's such a beautiful experience. It's fun. It's delightful. It's great. It's, all the feelings that comes with like that beautiful relationship that you have with money. You want to bring those feelings and you want to practice those feelings and you want to romanticize that idea and you really want to tap into that emotion. When you start to bring those kind of experiences and you start to really marinate that feeling, harness that feeling, you start to really treat money as if you have an intimate relationship. You tap into this place of playing with your heart, playing with your subconscious, playing with your innate power, where logic just goes out of the window, where it's all about, I receive, it comes to me, it's just there. It's always flows to me. It's like you build that trust and that intimate connection where money shows up no matter what, where money shows up no matter how hard, other areas of your life get or how you're feeling. It's like you have this deep trust and loyalty and you have that connection and you have that feeling of ease and lightheartedness. And that's when even sometimes you'll be doing the same strategies or same things, or you'll not be even doing a lot less, and the money will start flowing in. And if somebody asks you like how you're doing it, you wouldn't be able to tell. You wouldn't be able to say, okay, I did this and I did this. It's illogical. You can't define it. It just happened. The dots just connected. But the key is to really romanticize your relationship with money, to really make it more attractive, more deeper, more connected. If you are thinking of your relationship in your life, you're like your intimate relationship, right? How would you feel more loved? How would you feel more seen, more connected, feel that love and deep connection, that loyalty? You know that the other person is always there for you. You feel romantic, you feel attracted, you feel a delight when you see that person. You have to translate those things on money by constantly practicing those things. What I do is I have certain time in my day when I just go in my imagination and build that with money. I have conversations with money. I feel that. I do those things. And there are 5 steps which I'm going to share with you, which are really powerful if you want to take it to the next level. The first one is every time you spend money, and especially for those people who are like, you know what, I've been operating on the need energy for so long, I don't know how to go on the other frequency. How do you tap in if your outside hasn't changed? How do I tap in? The first thing what you can do, which is a very easy thing, is every time you spend money, you are so happy, you're so grateful, you really feel the feeling of having. You're paying your bill, instead of saying, oh my God, I have to pay the bill prices are increasing, look at that, like how everything is getting so expensive, inflation. You start to say, you know what, I have money. And if you do it for 3 weeks, like really tap into the feeling of having, your mind will rewire and you will start to really trust money more. You start to, instead of focusing on the glass half empty, you'll focus on half full. I always have money. I have money. It is there. I have money, right? When you're going out, let's say you're buying yourself a coffee. Instead of saying, oh, I should have made my coffee at home, or I should have gotten it cheaper, or look at the prices of coffee, they're going so up. You start to really say, I have money to pay for the coffee. And you really disconnect from all the worries and tap into the present and say, I have money right now. And the beauty of it is you're not visualizing anything. You're just tapping into the physical reality and its truth. You can really shift that. And this is actually based on the book Having by Yoon Kungslee. And you need to check the name, but it's by a Korean money guru, and it's such an amazing book. It's called The Having, where she really teaches like how you can tap into the feeling of abundance by using your current reality. You have the money. You have it right now. And you can even have your having journal, where at the end of the day, whatever you spend money on, you say, I have the money. It's different than gratitude. Gratitude is you can be grateful for your children, for your partner, for your house. But having is when you spend money, you shift your frequency and you feel really grateful. And even And then at the end of the day, you can even write about that. And you can say, I have the money to spend on whatever you spend on. And then how does it make you feel? It makes me feel so good. Even sometimes when I get parking tickets, right? A lot of people get in negative frequency, like, look, I'm losing money for no reason. This is crap. I used that opportunity to tap into the feeling of having, because I made a mistake, right, with parking, and I can use money to get away with the mistake I made. I'm so grateful for money to come and cover me every time, right? Of course, I don't go around making that mistake, but you can use any situation to tap into the feeling of having. If you got something for your children and they're so happy, you can write that, I feel such a good parent, right? You practice that and it compounds your frequency for money. Then you attract more money, and then you compound it and it just completely rewires you for money. The second thing what you can do is you can go around in rich neighborhoods, places where a lot of money is being circulated, and you can fall in love with the idea of circulation of money and say, look, there is so much money everywhere. I love it. I love the feeling. I love the vibe. Like when I go to Chelsea in London, right, I feel money. I see money. I sense money. I breathe money. It's like money is everywhere, right? It's one of the most expensive areas. I'm gonna buy a studio in Chelsea. It's £3-4 million just for a studio, like a tiny flat. So the air has money. You tap into that. You can breathe it. Go to the nice restaurants or just have a coffee in a nice hotel lobby. Like really tap into the idea that there is so much abundance, right? Look online where is a lot of money circulated. Look at the global car industry. Look at the car industry in the United States. Like how much money is being. Look at the stock markets. Like how much money is being circulated, right? You really tap into that. The third thing what you can do is every time you have more money, when you have paid your bills, you really tap into the feeling of, whoa, I love it. And you have even a little bit extra cash sitting in your bank account, you really tap into the feeling of abundance. Because for universe or God, it doesn't matter whether you're feeling abundance for 5 cents, for $5, for $5,000, for $50,000, it doesn't matter, right? The abundance in abundance. When you feel into that, you tap all the way through it. That is really powerful. Whenever you have money, you have extra money left over, you really compound in the feeling of abundance. And the fact that I have more money, I have more. The other thing which is really, really important, which whenever my clients come to me, I ask them this question, and every time it blows their mind. And I want to ask you this question. Do you identify yourself as rich and successful? And I know success has different meaning for different people, right? But when I say rich, and I don't mean, oh, I'm abundant because I'm alive. No, not that kind. Do you identify as rich? And a lot of times when clients start working with me in our very first session, they're like, oh, I'm a middle class person. And here we go. You just cracked it. You just cracked it. If you identify yourself as a middle class person and you're trying and striving so hard to earn money, isn't there an identity conflict? I'm trying. You'll always be trying. What is your identity with money? How do you feel, right? The fifth thing, which is really, really powerful, but when you do all this work, then it works. So do it without all those 4. That go and buy yourself a nice cup of coffee. So imagine if you're used to drinking in a place, now go and have a bit of a posh cup of coffee, right? Or buy yourself slightly nicer thing, get yourself an upgrade, and start to really tap into the identity. I am important person, VIP. I am a very important person, VIP, very important person. I treat myself like that. And if treating yourself like that makes you feel lack, you're like, oh my God, I'm spending all my money, do all other 4. And until you're strong in that, you can't tap into that. And you start to say, you know what? I'm a very important person. I give myself upgrade. I buy a nicer coffee, and I really tap into very important. Now, it doesn't mean that other people are not important. The whole planet, the whole human species, in fact, the whole species are born as VIP. The only problem is some people have acknowledged that. So don't forget that it doesn't mean other people are not important. It just means you have just acknowledged that I'm a very important person, right? And you tap into the feeling of I'm very important. Shift yourself energetically. Start to feel that. Start to walk like that. Start to talk like that. What I say is important. The value I create for the world is important. Who I interact with is important. My work is important. My clients are important. I charge the right price because my work is important. My work is valuable. When you really go energetically or behind that, you attract clients who value your prices because you value your prices. And we start to tap into the frequency of I am a very important person. The whole world shifts and meets you there. The key is to keep playing with that idea. I am a very important person. My time is important. My value is important. What I say important. My craft is important. My relationships are important. My life is important. The money that I charge for my work is important. I don't undercharge because I'm a very important person. And if you're fully behind it, you'll attract people who will value that. If you're not behind it and you try to increase your price, you will get objections. Start to play with that identity. Start to grow in that identity. And you see how everything shifts. Illogical money exists because literally, that's what I tell my clients, like there is literally an unlimited amount of money because government can print anytime. So money is getting printed all the time. And money is useless if there is nothing to buy. As long as you're a valuable person, you're an important person, you will always attract money. You will be a match for money. But the key is when you start to play with the illogical frequency, money responds. It's about playing with those ideas. Start to embody those ideas, walk with those ideas, and really, really take them in your consciousness. And you see how money responds to you differently. Because it's desperate in huge quantities to come into your lives. And that's the huge realization I had. I almost thought like I just took the limit off and now it's just flowing like crazy. And I was like, oh, it's me the problem. Oh yeah, it was. This stuff is really powerful. And I would love to know what resonated with you the most. And please share it with people who want to tap into that, because there is so much conversation about lack and not enough. And just enough. I don't even like just enough. But there is so less information about overflow. And we want to be the light. We want to spread the overflow because it's available to every single one of us. And I'll see you soon. Bye.